Scaling into winners is pretty cool, and here's how I do it. So, what I like to do is I like to wait until a trading opportunity sets up. For example, a trade like I'm in right now on GBP AUD, something very simple, support, resistance, and price action. Price breaks above a zone, comes back to test it, and the idea is that you think it's going to move from that zone and bounce upwards and go upwards. So, you get into a trade. I will place something like a buy right here, a stop loss usually under the last swing low, and then just a 1-to-1 profit target just for starting the trade. And then what I'll do is if it starts going against me, I'll start to look to just exit the trade if I can. Like if it breaks a little bit and then comes back up to retest, I'll close it break even, or I'll just look to start getting out of the trade, but I won't add to losers anymore. Typically what I'll do, there may be still some cases where I'll add to losers depending on the context and if I plan for it. But what works surprisingly well is if price starts bouncing. I called this out on my Telegram channel yesterday. For those of you who are not in here, this is a Telegram channel where I've been calling all my trades for like years, for like 5 years in here, and it's just the same stuff, just support resistance. Yesterday, I actually had one of my biggest days I've had in months. I had $16,000 in profits cumulatively for the new $50,000 account I started. I'm growing it to 100,000. But I had a lot of trades go and hit the profit targets, and a lot of trades that I was in had scaled in entries that were added in profit. And that's super, super simple the way that I do it. So here's how I do it. So when price starts going into profit, if you just literally click copy and paste here, so you add another one. What I did on my Mac is I hit command and then I clicked. So I press command on the Mac keyboard and then I click, and then it allows you to drag like a new one out. So what I did here is I just grab an identical position size tool, and then wherever price is at, it goes a little bit up. Let's say it moves up. There's no exact amount every single time, but for me, it's just when it moves into a little bit of profit and it looks like the momentum is picking up. I'll just add another trade right there. And then what I'll do is I'll move the initial stop on the first position to break even. So let's look at the outcomes on what the risk is and how this can happen. So say you enter a one standard lot trade here and price moves up. So price moves up and it's in, I don't know, say like $500 of profit. If you add a second trade there when price goes into profit, and then you move the stop for the first position to break even, what happens now is that if price comes back and then it touches that entry, then you're stopped out at break even, and then you're pretty much in the same original trade. You're in a buy at the support zone or close to it with your stop loss below the support and then a target, just at a higher high. And if price doesn't stop at break even and instead it just keeps ripping upwards, then you have a situation where you win double what you risked. And that's only if you have two positions. What if you have like a third position here? You can add a third one as it goes up, protect the second position. And what if you have a freaking fourth position as it keeps going up and it just keeps ripping up and makes a higher high? You're able to profit on all these positions because you've scaled into the winner, provided that you're able to protect the first positions with a break-even stop. So that's what I'm looking to do on GBP AUD right now. This is a trade. I share all my analysis and stuff in the free Telegram here, but then what I'll do is I will share all my exact trades in the close friends group. It's a group chat. It's right here, the Mission FX close friends group. And I'll literally send out my analysis, it's this simple. Like I'm long GBP AUD, and then I'll post a trading view image sometimes, but mostly it's just like a chart screenshot of my entry. And that's one of the trades I'm in right now. So if this starts moving up into profit, I'll add to this winner, and then I'll move the stop to break even for the first position, then I'll keep it going. I'll show you some of the crazy positions I closed yesterday because it got really, really wild really quickly. This is all from today. All of the trades from today. So here's one of them. This was NZD CAD. I entered a sell, and then whenever it went to more profit, I added another sell, a second one, and then I protected the first position with the break-even stop. So that one went into some big profits. There was also this one here, which was NZD CHF. So this was as price had went up, made a lower high, started going down, I entered a sell. As it continued going lower on the 4-hour, I added another sell, then put a break-even stop on the first one, and this last one just ended up going crazy, and I added that final sell as it was breaking the zone, and I had targets much lower. I ended up closing this one early just because the profits were so good. I wanted to take them off the table because there was almost no risk to get those extra profits. The only extra risk was whatever I had risked on the distance from the first entry to the second entry. Here's another example. AUD USD, I was short up here as it broke a 4-hour zone. And then whenever it came back down here, it pulled back. It almost hit the break-even stop on my first sell. Then as it was coming down, I added another sell right there. And then as it went down even lower, I thought it was going to break the support since it had failed to go and make a higher high. So I added another one. And each time I added a sell, I just moved the stop to break even. And then I dragged the stop loss for the final position down to whatever 1 unit of risk would be. So if the initial stop loss, is like right here, for example, in this trade I'm in now, whenever I add a second trade on this, which is going to be here pretty soon, I'm going to set an alert. That way I can just add as soon as it gets there. I'll enter a second trade just like that. And then I'll bring the first position to break even. And then my new stop loss will be that right there. This little area where it says 1.8949. That'll be my new stop loss for that second position because the first position's at break even. So that's how I like to structure it, because it just means that if the momentum doesn't follow through and it just pops back to the zone and stops you out at break even on your first one, well, that was a break even. There's no risk involved anymore. And the second trade you're in is pretty much the same thing. Like it's that. So what's the difference between the first trade and then that second trade? It's almost nothing. So, it just works really well. There was another trade I was in that went even crazier than this. It was a Euro AUD trade. This is one of them where I thought I had 4 entries, but it looks like I only had 3. So I started a position on a buy on a break and retest right here. It broke above this zone, tested, I entered a buy. As it started moving into profit, I added the second buy, then I protected the first position with a break-even stop. Then I added a third position, and then I protected the second position with a break-even stop, and then these ones ran up. One of them, there was 4 entries, but one of them had already hit the original profit target, which was like right here. And that's whenever I finally noticed it and took the screenshot of it because it happened so fast. And then I did close the rest of the positions just right here. But this was quite the crazy day, just because whenever price does move into profit, it's great because you're able to really capitalize and make some big gains on those winners. If you look at positions like NZDCHF right here, that one was 1,400. This one was 1,000. This one was 600. So this right here alone is like $3,000 just on those. And that didn't even go all the way to the profit target. There's a lot of other ones too. So many more. So it prevents you from like, look at it this way. When you add to losing trades, this is one thing that ruined my whole system. I would essentially, it was more complicated than what I'm going to explain it here, but I'm doing it just so that way it's simple and you can like get something from this. I was adding to positions as they would move against me, anticipating that at some point they would eventually pull back. This works if you're using appropriate sizing, but sometimes it makes it a real pain in the ass when you keep getting stuff run against you. So I wasn't using stop losses. I was using hedging as the risk structure. But again, to make it simple, I'll just use these little red sideways lines to show I would sell here, I would sell here. And then if it would go up, I would enter like buys to like hedge against it moving upwards. And if it would move up further, say to the next resistance zone, I would close the buys and profit. And then I'd add another sell. So I kept adding to my losing positions as they were going up, anticipating like at some point it would pull back. And like I said, this happens. But whenever it doesn't happen and it just keeps going up, like GJ, for example, the past 3 weeks now, whenever it doesn't pull back, it just ruins the account. Like the whole compounding growth target gets ruined, and then you take a big loss, you got to restart. This was the only flaw in my previous risk structure was when I would have the consecutive back-to-back invalidations. And that's completely avoided now with how I'm doing the risk structure now, which is adding to the winning trades. And the losing trades, a small percentage of them actually hit the stop loss. And if they do, that's only minus 1R. That's minus 1 unit of risk, and I've already planned for that. And it's all fine and dandy. Whenever I win trades, though, that end up being good and the idea just plays out perfectly, it's like the wins are like 2, 3, 4 times whatever it is what I risked on it. Again, my risk for just starting these trades is just $3,000 each, just for now, for the 50K account, and I'll increase the risk as the account begins to grow. So for this right now, I'll show you literally firsthand exactly what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be adding a position here. And so I'll just show you all live. Like this is, by the way, I call all my trades out of my close friends group. It's not a signals group. You shouldn't buy it if you want signals, but I do literally share every single trade that I'm taking live. Trading's risky. You're still probably going to lose money somehow. So you shouldn't be joining this just to like copy my trades live. But you can follow my live trades, and then you can ask me anything here in our chat. And then we've also got a main chat where we can just all chat about the markets. And we do live Zoom sessions every day. It's just like a group where you can learn like trading a lot quicker than you would on your own otherwise. So I'm going to post something here. So I'll post this here, then we can look at it here on the computer. So I just posted that there. This is the right now. I just posted this screenshot from my phone here into the Discord. So GBP AUD, this is where it's at right now. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a trade, and I'm going to be showing the step-by-step process that I'm doing it right here. So I'm going to buy, and then what I'm going to be doing here, I'm doing this on my phone right now on MetaTrader 5 because they make it real easy for you to drag your take profit and stop losses and everything around. So, okay, so I've just done that, and I'm going to drop it in Discord. That way you'll be able to see. So this is exactly how I'd call a trade. Post that there, and then I just type a little thing. I've added to GA and protected the first position. What I do is I just show every single thing that I'm doing. That way people can just literally see my terminal, and I post like my open trades too, like the open terminal. Whenever I'm in trades and stuff like that, like everything. That way people can just see all the trades that I'm in, and they see every time I call a trade out live, so you can kind of follow it in real time and see the process of everything. So I've added a GA and protected the first position. So that's me adding to it. And then you'll notice there's that buy there, and the stop loss on the bottom and the take profit on the bottom are for the first buy. The second buy, it's the stop loss further up, and you'll just see I've just increased the distance of the stop loss and the targets just by however much the distance is from my first entry. So that means if that comes back down and hits the first entry at break even, then I'll break even on that, but now I'm in essentially the same trade still, right? Because the entries were so close. So as long as your stop losses and targets are not like smothered, it allows you to scale in, and the spread is usually small enough that you don't get pinned out. So let me just protect the first position. So all I'm doing here is I'm just dragging the stop loss to break even for the first trade. And then I'll screenshot it here and show you. Okay, cool. So then I'll drop it in here, and then we'll take a look. So I've dropped that in there, and there we go. So now you'll see the first position, the stop loss was dragged to break even. So now what I have essentially is, if we go back to trading view, if I just like hit command and then click and then drag this up, I'm in two trades. I'm in the first buy right there, but that stops at break even now. And I'm in the second buy, and this has the same original validation. So now if these go up and hit the targets, I'll make $6,000 profit. But if this just drops straight from here, I'll only lose $3,000, right? So if it wins, it's just going to be winning like a lot more. And that's if I can like add more along the way up, and it finally goes to like a final target of like a higher high somewhere way up here, like maybe 1.94 or something. I'll just set an alert up there just in case. Then I'll make a lot of profits as it continues ripping upwards, and it sort of follows this little uptrend. But the analysis begins very simple with like a big higher time frame idea, like on the 4 hour, 1 hour, daily even. And it's like a bounce of a support zone, bounce of a resistance zone, or like a break and retest of a support resistance zone. And that's it. And then I'll just use 1-to-1 to kind of structure the original trade as far as the risk reward. I'll have the stop loss a good distance away, the target a good distance away if I think that's going to be the actual move. And then I'll add to the winners and essentially just scale out of the losers. There was a losing trade I took this morning on Euro AUD, which that looks like it's actually would have been winning now. I started a buy as price was going up here and breaking these highs. So I added a buy right there. And then I added another buy right here as it was breaking these highs, but then it failed and it came back down. The first position hit break even, and I was out of that. And then as it kept going down a little further, I just ended up closing that second buy that I took at like a 1/3 loss of what it would have been. So I lost like $1,000 on that instead of what would have been, I mean, like it would have been $3,000 if I let it hit the stop loss. And it wouldn't have even hit the stop loss, but this was it right here. Here's the final remaining position. I peeled out of it in pieces. And this was it down here, that 4 lots of Euro AUD. I lost about $900, so about 1/3 of what I risked, which was $3,000. You'll also see a lot of other trades like CHFJPY. I took a buy this morning, closed that early. It's like 1/6 of what a normal loss is. Euro AUD, CHFJPY, GBP CHF, all these are break evens for trades that I had added to that they came back and were starting to screw around. So yeah, adding to winning trades, it's pretty cool. That's how I do it. If you want to watch me like trade all this stuff live, click the second link in the description. It'll take you to my website here. And then on my website, the product I'm showing you in this video, it's MissionFX Close Friends. You can just click that right there. And there's like a whole video on the page that like shows like literally where I just show you inside the group and just show you how it works. But it's real simple. It's just a Discord group chat, and I call all my trades there. And then you can ask me a question at anytime, any question you have, like at all, and I'll literally personally respond whenever I see it. We do like live Grim Q&A sessions every morning, live Zoom Q&A sessions. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So that's the second link in the description. And if you just want to watch me share my analysis stuff, like just day in and day out, you could just join this free Telegram channel. There's like right now almost 50,000 subscribers in here, just following all my trades for free. And I've been running this group for like I said, like 5 years, like since summer of 2018. But yeah, so that's how I add to winning trades. It's pretty cool. That's all.